Privet. Przolsta. Hi and welcome to the Poleshift News. Guys, I wanted to give you an idea of how big our universe is, and I couldn't find a better way to do that than to show you one of the Mandelbrot sets. This is a fractal pattern that goes on well beyond the capabilities of the rendering of my computer. But, you know, let's just say what we're looking at in front of us is the entire universe. And it is absolutely massive. Yeah? And there are many, many galaxies in this universe, many planets within them galaxies, many stars within them galaxies, and supporting life planets within them galaxies. So let's just get into exploring a bit of this Mandelbrot pattern. Let's bring it back over a little. So it doesn't matter really where you choose to zoom in. It's just like zooming in on another part of this universe, you know, then into another part of the galaxy. Very soon, after a certain amount of resolution, my CPU on this laptop's going to go crazy because it just can't simply handle the rendering. But if I said to you guys, at some point here, we're going to enter the realms of our galaxy, and then after we have entered the realms of our galaxy, we're going to enter the specific part of the spiral arm of where our solar system lies. And you can see now the computer is struggling with the rendering. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that this region here on this Mandelbrot set is the region of where our solar system is. Can you imagine how many planets, how many stars within our own galaxy alone could support life? You know, to talk about such things in these day and times is a real luxury, because not many people afford themselves the luxury of doing that. Do you remember a few years ago when I very first introduced to you guys the universal equation, which showed us that, you know, it doesn't matter which set of numbers we put into the universal equation, it returns just one of two numbers, a 9 or a 0. And I said it was for that matter that, you know, this universe is definitely creating on a binary system. For those of you that never saw the universal equation, and you know how we went through the process to get the 9 and the 0, you know, there are a couple of videos a few years ago that I've done. You might be worth, you know, having a look at them just to see how it works. And I've not come across an equation like it before. And I don't know whether you guys that have been following me for some time remember how that came about. And I can remember it. It was through years and years. I don't think I was, for some reason, satisfied with the answers in life, and I wanted to know what it was all about. What was the purpose of being, you know, on a planet such as this for a certain amount of time and then going? You know, I wanted to know what was the purpose of a universe in the first place, and, you know, how did it create things, you know, position things? How did it decide how it wanted to go about that creation? And, you know, the universal equation came to me one morning when I woke up. I can't explain how. I just had this equation in my head, and when I wrote it down, I didn't quite at first understand, you know, how important this equation was. And, you know, for months after, you know, only then I began to appreciate what it was that I'd actually got in front of me. And it explained a couple of things to me. It explained that, you know, this universe creates on an intelligent process. And the fact that it used sort of the fact that we have a binary system such as the universal equation tells us that not only is it creating intelligently, but if it does so, it must be also conscious. So you imagine this universe, and the amount of consciousness within that universe. And then you imagine the length of time that universe has been conscious and creating and continues to create. I mean, this Mandelbrot set only goes in a certain amount of layers before my CPU gives up on it. But if I had a supercomputer, I could continue showing you further and further and further into this Mandelbrot pattern, and it would be like exactly looking into the universe. Just as this pattern has mathematically arranged all the colours and the details within it, this universe has done the exact same thing. So, to answer that question for a few of you guys out there, is the proof of God? And I think, if we come across such a equation, such as the universal equation, then I think that is satisfactory enough to prove that there is something out there creating consciously. Now, a lot of people would say, well, I already had a belief in God. And I just wanted to show you that you don't just have to have a belief, that you can actually know for sure that there is a God or a something which creates on an intelligent manner, and it has done so for a long period of time, well before we was even here or conscious of being anything. We're here for such a short period of time, and after our days are done on this planet, and it will happen for each of us, we will leave. And the only other part to this that satisfied me was the knowledge of knowing something that whilst we're here on this planet, the only thing we can do from the day we are born to the day we die is experience things. And the first experience will be your first breath of air, and likewise, as it starts, it ends, and the last experience we'll have on this planet will be that of taking our last. But it's what we do in between that really makes all the difference. And, we can have some great experiences in between those 2 points. And it's a real shame that what is limiting the capacity for people to have such great experiences is something that we have created ourselves, and that is the monetary system. And it stops everything. The monetary system right now is stopping people accessing food in some parts of this country. Even in this country, it's true. And as well as other parts of this world. I mean, we are one of the 7th richest countries in the world, the UK. And we have plunged a massive proportion of the population into poverty. Children will grow up in poverty, and as a result of that, it will limit the ability for them to have certain experiences. It's not just children that will be limited to certain experiences, it is adults as well. And it's related down to that one problem. Now, this capitalist system is coming to an end. The people that benefit in this system are very few. We all know that they're 1%. And they do not want to give it up. They are like a tick stuck in a raccoon's ass. And we have to do something to change this process, which is taken root for, many, many years. It has to come about a new system where no longer people are not barred from experiences. These people that have it all are no different to you and I. They are human beings, despite how they look at us compared to themselves, they are the same. I guarantee if we are all naked in the same room amongst these rich people, they will look no different to us. And it's just this selfish nature which is really ruining the ability for people to have decent experiences in life, in this world. I really believe that there are outer market beacons on our outer edges of our solar system, warning any other intelligent life form from entering or having anything to do with us, because we simply haven't grasped the basics. I really truly believe that the reason why we have such different looking people on this planet is for a purpose. The reason why we have Chinese people, the reason why we have African people, the reason why we have white Caucasians, and and all the other races that we have on this planet, I believe that they're there for us to understand something, that we are different, but still human, intelligent life forms. Can you imagine what somebody would look like from another world? They may have grey skin, they may have blue skin. And what are we going to do? Are we going to put up borders to prevent them coming and visiting our world just because of their differences? When will these world leaders realise that they have an opportunity in their positions to create a world which is better for all the inhabitants on this planet, which is better not just for the humankind, but for all the species that are on this planet? When will they realise this? When will they realise that just waxing themselves rich and keeping their small community rich and in the positions to experience everything in life, at the same time take all the experiences away from others at the same time? When will they realise that this is not the way forward? I watched a really interesting documentary regarding the Russian Prime Minister, Vladimir Putin. And, we cannot continue going about our business the way we are on this planet, because, the amount of resources we're investing in borders, weapons, it's just pointless. These things, I believe, in probably 5,000 years, if we make it into 5,000 years, are going to be in history museums. They're going to look back on us, the historians, and they're going to say, this is what this population at this time invested the majority of their resources into. And, with regards to those nuclear weapons, they're never going to be used. Yet millions and millions of pounds have been invested into those weapons that are never ever going to be used. And, not just on the investment of those weapons, on the investment of looking after those weapons. We could have spent that money on greater things. In the UK, we've just enrolled in our Navy fleet 2 new aircraft carriers. At the cost, I think the original starting cost was £2 billion each. Could you imagine what we could have done with £2 billion elsewhere? What £2 billion on medical equipment could have done? What £2 billion on infrastructure, creating jobs, manufacturing? It is insane. We have to, I think, afford ourselves more time to discuss such matters as this. And, if we don't do it now, we're just passing on an inheritance of, the same problem for the future generations. I've not been on this planet long, but I've seen a whole generation of children get neglected. There are no jobs, and at the same time, this British government have allowed, these migrant workers to come in and take what few jobs are left. Not only have they done that, but the nationals of this country have suffered, poverty because of this. I say this all the time. If the only way you can access money to participate in a monetary system is either two routes: one, benefits, or two, a job. And if you can't, get a job, you are plunged into poverty through benefits. What sort of system is that is in place? I think they're covering up the statistics a lot, on a lot of things. Yes, 120,000 people as a direct result of this government's policies relating to universal credits, which are benefits in the UK, has killed 120,000 people and plunged children into poverty. And that is an embarrassment for this government. They should be ashamed of themselves. They boast they are one of the 7th richest countries in the world, and they are treating their own people in such a manner. I can understand why the British public voted for a Brexit, because since being in the European Union, we've lost more jobs. We've had more factories close, and I can say that, companies such as this one company that built train carriages lost the contract to some country in Germany, and as a result of that, closed the company down that had been in operation for many, many, many years. It lost skills, jobs, and it didn't strengthen British economy in any way by doing that. It strengthened Germany's economy because of Brussels. They dictated that they were going to be the ones that got that contract and built those trains. It's a complete disaster, and things need to change. I just thought I would talk about a few of these things with you guys today. Because on the grand scheme of things, what takes place in an individual life is nothing compared to what's taking place on the grand scheme of this universe. It will continue to create in the manner it has done for billions and eons of years. It will do. But only us on this planet can change our future and make the next generation that come into this world enjoy these benefits of better quality experiences. So I'll leave it here, guys. I want to thank those people that supported some of the research we do on this channel, and I want to point out that there is a link there if you want to support it. And I hope you've enjoyed the conversation today, or the talk, should I say. And maybe it's, if nothing else, just took you away from the reality of your life at the moment, just briefly, to afford you the luxury of thinking about this planet, its position in its solar system, its position on the spiral arm of the galaxy that we live in, the Milky Way, and that being part of this universe, which is very, very much conscious. So what I usually do. Bye for now.